Hello and welcome to another edition of the Monkey Tail Podcast. I'm your host, Bruno Pinto, and with me, as ever, I have my friend slash co-host, Mr. Marius Dunkley,
Hello, beautiful people.
and the captain of the boat himself, Ben Jenkins. How you doing, sir?
Cheese grommet. I'm
He's,
good. I'm good, guys.
the reason he looks so pixelated is not because he's a sex offender. It's mainly because he's on a 4G inside the van. So I apologize for the video quality on his behalf. But hopefully you can hear his dulcet tones anyway, which is what we want to do. Right. Let's start this podcast, our second live stream podcast. The last one went so well. Let's start as always with a question. And the question today is brought by Ben at last minute before I pressed go live button, and he wants to ask what's the save file you've lost, like that caused you the most hurt, like be it if you lost the memory card. Remember those Sony PlayStation memory cards, that 8 MB ones, like
Yeah.
that you had like the squares of how much you can save per game. It could be one of those. Could be. Yeah. So what's the one that caused you the most hurt? Man, you can start.
Um,
Oh,
oh,
or Marius.
I'll start. Okay. Well, when I actually originally thought this question, I had a really, really good one, but I have since forgotten. But one that does spring to mind is Championship Manager '98. Again, back in the day, would play it for hours at a time daily. You get into the 2020s of the season, and I've lost one of those saves due to guess what, third party memory card.
Oh wow.
But yeah, that's not surprising, really. But I think one of the worst ones overall is Gran Turismo 5. My PlayStation 3 got the yellow light of death, and I was one license off the gold trophy for the licenses, which in turn would have got me the platinum trophy. I've now lost that save.
Oh.
So to do all of the trophy, all of the licenses through to the S rank, and then obviously do the however many 100,000 miles you need for I think it's the Nuremberg trophy or something like that. Fuck that game. So that game is now forgotten in my memory, and I will never get that platinum trophy, but I am very, very close to it.
People think fondly of the PlayStation 3, like, oh, it was a lot more reliable than the Xbox 360, and it certainly was. In terms, the Xbox 360 was like, I had like 8 breaking. But one thing the Xbox 360 did have from not from the beginning, but from an early from early on was cloud saves, and I think the PS3 did not have that at the time then, because that would have saved the.
Well, an extension to that story, it did at this point, obviously with PlayStation Plus, but the at the time I was sort of doing it month by month, if and when I chose.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize, but if you didn't have it for more than 3 months, they deleted your cloud saves.
That's just
So when
hacks.
my hard drive did fail, I thought, oh, it's okay. I'll get a new PS3 and I'll download my save. It turns out I hadn't backed up for over 3 months, and yeah, again, that's just dug another hole, but another layer to this hole of fuck that game. I'm not interested in Gran Turismo 5 because I'd have to redo so much of it. So yeah, I from then on bought an annual subscription to PlayStation Plus, and ironically, it keeps auto renewing, and I keep forgetting to turn it off. But that's another story.
I mean, we'll let Marius obviously say his answer there, but this hiding cloud saves behind the paywall, and they still do it, is outrageous. It sounds like a Nintendo thing to do.
It is.
Literally, Xbox and pretty much every single game store front on the PC gives you that like free, and it gives you the online play free as well. So Sony needs to um you know you know change some of those things, because I think it's outrageous keeping it behind the paywall. But anyway, so you lost that. What about yourself, Marius? What have you lost that's upset you?
I mean, I can't remember the specifics, but there have been lots of instances. Much like Ben, I had a third-party memory card. It was definitely dodgy as anything, and it like multiple times I lost saves. To be honest with you, I mean I can't remember any specific. I think I might have lost a bit of Final Fantasy actually, Final Fantasy VII, but I'm not quite sure. I can't really remember. But I do remember on multiple occasions, like because this was obviously from the time where fighting games you actually had to unlock the characters as opposed to them all being available as they
Something
are
like with 5 or
nowadays.
something, yeah, and then
Yeah, you had to like finish the story mode or do whatever it was to unlock all of the characters. So I remember on the Tekkens, I can't remember specifically which one, probably on across a couple of them, having lost saves for those, and then having to do the old like before a party at someone's house or something, doing the old 1 round, 10 seconds time limit, easy, just to try and unlock all of those characters again in preparation for multiplayer shenanigans. So yeah, that's my biggest memory of a lost save.
So before I move over to mine, a couple of follow-on questions on that one, or maybe just one. Do you prefer that the games now come with most characters unlocked, or do you
Hate it.
or you like the
I
having to
hate
unlock?
it.
Okay, fine.
It was that was all part of the fun. I don't mind like having additional ones, like DLC ones that like at a later date. That's fine, but like I really enjoyed that, going through and having to unlock characters. It was
There was something about
exciting.
story mode.
Yeah, it was like, it's exciting to not have all the characters and seeing those blank hidden spots on the character select screen, and yeah, and seeing who it is that you unlock when you do whatever the requirements are. So yeah, I would much prefer the old let me unlock them.
Well, yeah, no, I think I'm with you on that one for sure. I've talked about mine in the past. It was the Witcher. 19 hours save lost because my PC corrupted, and I wasn't using cloud saving. I was using just the standard save on the disc, and I lost more than just the I lost some pictures and other things, but the one that hurt the most was the 90 hours that I lost from The Witcher. I still need to replay that game. There's always as well the going back to the memory sticks. There's always like when a younger family member comes over to the house and plays on your console, and then when you go to play again, you realize that he's renamed he start like deleted your save file and started again or something. Like that happened to me quite a few times as well. Like they'll come in and they'll delete your save file and just start again from the beginning, and then obviously you hang them by the legs from a building and until they say sorry. So that's happened quite a lot. So I'm happy that cloud save is a thing now. But keeping on the Mortal Kombat thing, have you seen and moving on as well at the same time? Did you see the new trailer for Mortal Kombat there, Marius? Oh, have we lost Marius? No, I cannot hear you.
You're on mute, Marius.
Hey.
Troubles with the
internet. Yeah, I mentioned this last podcast, Bruno.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Glad to see you were paying attention. Announcing that RoboCop was one of the new characters.
That's right.
Yeah. And I think they've got some DLC, like an additional story mode. I haven't played Mortal Kombat for a while, to be honest. I'm not sure that I think I've probably been away from it too long to go back to it at the moment, to be honest with you. And I'm it's more difficult to play that for any period of time now because I don't think it's child appropriate for some reason.
No, it isn't. It most certainly isn't. Okay, well, that's a great segue. Actually, not a great segue because we need the news. I was gonna have a great segue to talk about Doom Eternal, but I'll save that for a bit. By the way, Doom Eternal, fucking awesome, and you should go play it. More on that in a second. Right, let's go over to Ben's. Sorry, let's move on to the part of the show. I've been up since 6 o'clock in the morning, guys. You know, I've been up early, and this is because obviously I'm doing the 19-hour stream tomorrow, and I'm starting to think maybe it was a bad idea to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning the day before you're doing your 19-hour stream.
Yeah, I think how are you going to be tomorrow?
But maybe with a good night's rest, I'll be fine. So we move on to the part of the show we like to call That Looks Interesting. And this part of the show where we talk about the video game news. And Ben wants to talk about Solitaire is 30 years old today and 35 million monthly players. That's a surprising one. 35 million monthly players?
Yeah, allegedly. It was actually yesterday, the 22nd, was the 30th anniversary. And yeah, according to Microsoft, they have still got 35 million players every month. But it was more just wow, Solitaire has been around for a long time. And it's sort of, yeah, put an age on me, really. But I do remember playing it. And I do still every now and then pick it up and give it a go. Obviously, I don't like the new Windows 10 Solitaire collection or whatever, but they have got hundreds of different, or a load of different types. But yeah, I didn't think it was particularly interesting, but that just caught my eye when I had a quick Google of what's been happening in the news for the last couple of weeks.
Oh, it's
and that was yesterday. So
it's just about the Solitaire collection or whatever. My boss, whenever he's not working, he's playing Spider Solitaire on his PC. But he had the Windows 7, and I obviously he's one of those guys. You know, he had the XP before that, and he had the like he's been through all of them, and he's played that's the game he plays. And when Windows 7 obviously lost support, so we had to put Windows 10 on, get him a new PC with Windows 10. He didn't have that's the one he wanted, so we had to get him the collection one, and he wasn't a fan as well. So he was like, what is this shit? I want my Spider Solitaire that I had for the last 10 years. But the thing is, he plays that game every day at work, like for like an hour at least. And so yeah, that 35 million plays actually doesn't surprise me that much. Actually,
it's a little puzzle to keep your mind off work, I suppose.
So, yeah, it's been a long time since I've played it, but I do love me a bit of Solitaire. Solitaire's
gonna be
ultimately pointless, but it's a good little time filler.
I'm gonna go for a popular opinion. Unpopular opinion. I think Minesweeper is better. No,
Minesweeper's awesome.
That's my unpopular opinion.
Minesweeper is a hard puzzle game if you want it to be.
And remember as well,
that's still knocking around as well.
Yeah, that is still knocking around. And remember as well when you could. We used to come with pinball as well. Remember on the old that was one of the other games that came with it as well. Pretty cool. Right, that's cool. And Marius wants to talk about the Tony Hawk's remake 1 and 2. It looks good. That remake looks good.
Yes, it really does look good. Have you both seen the trailer?
Yeah.
No, but I'm just gonna have a quick look now.
Yeah, I mean, it's Tony Hawk's 1 and 2, but looks pretty. And they've got most of the original soundtrack, I believe. I don't think they've got every single track.
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
on there, but
essential.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's one of those. I find it interesting. I have a lot of good memories of those games. I really enjoyed them. Whether I'll actually, I guess, I'm not sure if they've announced the price for it. Fingers crossed for a Game Pass on that one. I think for me, I might play it then. But it's one of the. I think that type of game, my time for playing that type of game has probably passed me by. The hours of sitting there and perfecting a run through the levels and learning all the tricks and stuff like that. I don't really have the time or inclination for that anymore. So I'm not sure if it's still my type of game, but I think it looks brilliant. It looks like a really good remake. So I would be certainly interested to try it.
So from memory, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the best one was the third one. Or is it the second one was the best one? I know it was the second. Okay, good.
I would choose the second, but the third was really, really good.
Yeah.
I think the third was the very last good one.
Yes.
Everything after that was just abominations.
So it looks great, and it's one of those. If it's priced right, or like Marius says, if it's going to be available on Game Pass, and Game Pass for the win, by the way, I think Microsoft should give me a commission. I think I got at least I reckon 10 people to join Game Pass just by describing it already, at least. That's
50p worth of commission from Microsoft if you got a whole 10 people.
Well, you know,
spread out over 12 months.
hey, listen, that adds up. I'll take 50p off the price. I mean, it's already a great price. I'll take 50p off. Why not? Why not? I'm down for that. No, that's cool. And we like a good remake. And if they make it well, if it's a good remake, then I'm there. Especially because they have the songs, all the soundtracks. But correct me if I'm wrong. They've already done a remake or remaster of this, haven't they? Am I dreaming this? That was a remaster.
I think they did a very shitty.
They did the original, I think.
Yeah.
They did like a HD remake. But this is actually Vicarious Visions, which are the guys that did Crash Bandicoot. So I would expect they would do it, well from the ground up. But I just like to point out that on the last 24 hours, I think we played Tony Hawk's 2, and just so everyone's aware how great I was at it, I'm very excited by this. So thank you for pointing it out, Marius, because I don't like you. I don't think I can do the whole.
I seem to remember
playing it for hours and hours.
You never won.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, how many times have you actually won the tournament, Ben?
I mean,
No. I was saying about the Tony Hawks, the score differential
what's that?
between.
Well, congratulations, you've been good at one game.
Yeah,
well done.
Well, it's relevant to what we're talking about now.
Slow hand clap.
Yes, well, I'll take that. You'll take your 50p from Microsoft. I'll take the snow clap Tony Hawks too. So yeah, thank you very much.
I mean, I actually have a trophy that I can show on camera. Look at that, Monkey Tail champion. 2005.
Yeah, but then you forgot to bring it the following year when I think I won.
I don't think you ever won. Has he ever won?
Well, I didn't win actually. No, but anyway, that's by the by.
I mean, how can I forget the trophy for something you didn't win, Ben? Honestly, anyway. Good times. I remember actually going back to the tournament just ever so quickly. My favorite. I mean, talking about winning one particular game, part of one leg of a tournament. My favorite one was Super Monkey Ball, when Marius completely forgot how to play video games. It was the worst.
What you're on about?
Worst.
I was amazing at Monkey Ball.
I don't believe he was. I don't believe you were, and I think he wasn't as well. But anyway, there you are. That's the video game news. My story will be just that they've I don't know if it's new or not new, but I've seen like oh fuck, I keep putting the phone. I don't do that, Bruno. So the PlayStation 5, how it's gonna look. What do you guys think about it? I think it looks pretty ugly myself. Oh.
I've not even seen it. Don't even care.
Oh, I haven't seen it. No.
Okay, well there you go. We'll move on from there. We'll move on to the playlist, and I'll start, if that's okay, with the one game I've been playing a lot of games. I've been streaming, live streaming every day, but mostly games I played before. But the one new game I played was Doom Eternal. I bought that a couple weeks back, but I hadn't had a chance to play it yet because I was using Streamlabs OBS, and that doesn't play Vulkan, which is what Doom runs on, the engine. Oh, the engine. Well, it doesn't matter. Anyway, so I couldn't do it. But now that I was able to sort it out by moving to OBS, I've started playing it. And the funny thing is, I like to think that I'm good at reading the chat and playing a game and reading chat, saying hi. Even if I'm playing Dark Souls in a boss battle, I look down and I can still reply to things. No chance I can play that game and look at the chat at the same time. That game's like, if you take your eyes off for a second, they fuck you up. It's super fast. I mean, first of all, looks gorgeous. That's for starters. Runs at 120 frames certainly on my machine, like smooth, like just like butter. And it's a lot more Metroidvania than I seem to remember the Doom 2016 was. So there's a lot of exploring and jumping and grabbing walls and jumping onto platforming parts as well as the normal fighting and having to be aggressive in order to get to regenerate your health. So that's great. And there's a lot of mechanics now, more game mechanics than the other one had as well. There's like amulets you can put on, and there's you can upgrade your weapon with different like attachments, and then you can power up the attachments by gaining points from killing the demons. But so far I've only played an hour, but that hour I played told me everything about that game. That game is just, it's like they picked the Doom from 2016 and they just cranked it up to 11, and there's just, here we go again. What a game! It just they got everything right so far with it for me. In terms of the shooting mechanic, the enemies. You know what's the big demon ones, the floaty ones, like round floaty ones that come in. To get them, you need to throw a grenade inside them to be able to get them. So your shotgun has an attachment which is like a grenade launcher as well. So you right click for that instead. So as they're coming in and you're doing all the shooting, like shotgun, look at him, just press the right button, grenade goes inside the mouth, keep shooting, then jump up and do a finishing move on him. It's just like amazing. Have you played it at all, Marius? Not yet.
No, I have not played it yet. I'm hanging fire. Wait for it to be a bit cheaper, I think, before I get around to playing Doom. To be honest with you,
I just love
but
it.
yeah, it's only a matter of time before I play that game.
Yeah. Oh, one thing they didn't do well is the map. The map is fucking terrible. I mean, proper bad. You press the map to check where like the hidden things are and everything, and it's just doesn't work. It's like you have to drag and try and get. Oh, it's a terrible map. That's my only negative so far is that the map is bad, but that's a small negative. The sound is good. I had to turn it down though because when I'm streaming, you know, the voice needs to be at the same level as the game. But it's one of those you kind of want to shut up and just crank it up again because it's like the sound just coming at you and you just want to shoot everything that moves and jump around. Yeah, great. You guys should play it. That's my what I think, or you know, watch me play if you want to play it. Right, let's move over to what you guys been playing. So we'll leave the VR for you. And so you've been playing Dirt Rally 2, Marius. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I did. I had a quick go on Dirt Rally. I didn't play a huge amount of it. I mean, this was on my PS4. It was a PS Plus game a month or two ago, I think.
Okay.
I mean, it looks really nice. I have to say, it does look brilliant. It's clearly pushing the PS4 pretty hard. There's a bit of screen tearing on there, but other than that, it looks amazing. The obviously like the weather effects, like one track at night, like the sort of driving through the rain at night with your headlights on, just looks phenomenal, and is also slightly terrifying when you cane a headlight on a rock or something and then you have no lights. Driving through the dark is absolutely nuts. I mean, there's not a huge lot to say about it. It's Codemasters making a driving game, and like they are just phenomenal at that. Particularly the rally games, they are undoubtedly the experts in that field. I think they're phenomenal. It's one of those games. Again, I mentioned this about Pac-Man last time. It's best not to blink, really, which is probably pretty accurate to actually driving a rally car, I would think. Less blinking is better.
Actually, the blinking thing, same for Doom. That's a great comment there. Yes, Doom, don't blink because
yeah,
same thing.
And actually, I've got a bit. That's what finished me off. I was a little bit tired at the time when I was playing it, and literally, like, my eyes were just like, "You cannot continue with this. This is stupid. You need to do something that involves closing your eyes for a bit." And I also found like I only played like a few tracks, but again, linked to the dry eyes issue. Like some of them are just too long. Like I know it's quite a heavy simulation, but like the last track I was playing, I think the top time was like 11 minutes or something on it for that track, and it's pretty intense. So it's not like a racing circuit driving game like Gran Turismo, where there's only, I don't know, 7-8 corners that you need to know. This is obviously corners being fired at you constantly, so it's pretty intense. So I liked it, but until I have a way that I can play that game in VR, I'm out. VR makes such a big difference to those games. I played the original one in VR, and that is undoubtedly the way to play this. I'm also better at it in VR. I find it more difficult to play sort of standard, yeah. But unfortunately, like I say, it's already pushing the PS4 pretty hard. I think they're not able to get the VR on the PS4, which is a shame.
Well, I played it, by the way. I got it and I played it on PC, and it's like a 90 gig download. It looks, if it looks good on PlayStation 4, imagine how it looks on PC. So it does look outstanding, but you need to know your limitations sometimes. And I was playing the game, and I'm like, I'm just not good enough for this. I can be good if I try, but I need to put a lot of time into this. And I'm used to playing games like Forza Horizon or arcade games and things like Wreckfest, where it's a bit of fun and arcadey like controls. I kept crashing on that thing, and it's not fun for me. I'm just not good enough for the simulation anymore, like your Gran Turismo's, your Forza Horizons. So it's just that's why I uninstalled it, because I'm not good enough for it. But somebody that knows what they're doing, like for instance, our new friend of the show, a new listener, Craig. He does the racing. He does proper like racing with the racing wheel and the seat and everything and all that setup. And he actually does racing like online against other players. And I was watching him play the other day, and he gets all the every single corner right and all the gear shifts right and everything. That's the type of game for him. But for me, I'm like, that's just not me. I look at the corner, I take it too fast, I crash again, and I'm like, yep, I'm done. Not for me.
I mean, because like they have bundles of like driving aids and stuff like that, so like you can always crank those up to make it to sort of take away a bit of that simulation feel and make it a bit easier and more fun if the hardcore simulation is too much.
I want to press the e-brake and the thing just turns and I get a bit of drift and I get off that again, feeling like I'm a superstar. When I play
you
those
want
games,
Ridge Racer, don't you?
When I play those games, I feel so inadequate. It's unreal.
To be absolutely honest with you, Ben, I fucking want Ridge Racer.
Ridge
Please.
Racer, yeah.
I love that game so much. I want Ridge Racer back. Bring me Ridge Racer, Namco, please.
I want Project Gotham Racing, even though that's pretty much became Forza, didn't it?
Yeah.
Which is great. Forza Horizon is great. It has enough challenge on it for me, but they have the rally sections as well. It has enough challenge on it to make it interesting for me, but it's not too challenging for me. But now, like I said, I know I could get better. I just don't want to put the time in. But the game looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous on PC. Sure. So yeah, that's Dirt Rally. I thought you had played it in VR, so it's not available in VR on PlayStation 4 then.
On PlayStation, no, and unfortunately, it's on Game Pass on the PC.
Yeah.
But you can't use VR with any Game Pass.
You've tried this before, haven't you? I think. If this sounds familiar, it was available but not in VR.
Yeah, I had a strop about it not being in VR on Game Pass previously. Yeah. So until like if it became available somewhere else that allowed me to play it in VR, I'd probably get back on it, because I agree with what Bruno's saying about the whole simulation and it being difficult and taking time. But again, I find it easier in VR and more fun in VR, so I sort of don't mind that when I'm in VR. But playing it just as a standard racing game for me, no.
Yeah, fair enough. Right, so Ben, you've been playing Plague Tale Innocence.
Yeah, so I originally started playing this on the 24-hour, I think last year, which is not long after it came out. Didn't have the patience for it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Tried it again a second time a couple of weeks or months later, whatever, and it was too slow. And I thought, right, I'm going to give it this third time. I picked it up, and once I got my head around the fact that it is a slow game where you are sneaking around and you are a little girl and a little boy, and you slowly gain relatively basic abilities because you have a sling, you can throw rocks, stuff like that. And then they introduced a little bit of alchemy, so you can control the rats a little bit more. It became a wonderfully dark and not scary game, but hats off to the sound design. I haven't been tense playing a video game for so long until I started playing through Plague Tale Innocence. It's sort of very reminiscent of Psycho, and the sort of the sharp string sounds. So you'll be sneaking through the dark with just the light, illuminating the room around you, and it's genuinely scary. And you are a small child being followed by, for example, a big heavy in big heavy armor, and he's chasing you down, but he's slow. And the music is building, and you're running around trying to throw rocks at him, try and knock his helmet off. It's a really, really great game. And I thought back to when I actually completed it, and I ended up platinum in it at the end. It's a fantastically great 7 out of 10. It sits in that. There's a couple of flaws, but as a concept and as a game, walking through the countryside, going to your old farmhouse, exploring a castle with your, the girl, the brother, and then you meet up with some other sort of not abandoned kids, but it forms this sort of small party of each character has its individual skill, and it kind of becomes the sort of the Goonies style, 5 mates banded together to try and stop the evil bad guys sort of thing. But in the end, really, really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I gave it the third go. But it didn't need to have that 3 goes. I think it was just me starting it and thinking it was going to be like a big third-person action game, where in reality it's more of a third-person stealth 'em up, with not very much emphasis on the combat. And it kind of reminded me of sort of Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice in that respect, where there was combat in the game, but it's very much a side point to the story and what was going on. And then graphically, just walking around the environments, it's very, very linear game. There's not much exploration. But having also playing it at the same time that I was learning Unreal 4 and using Megascans to use the assets in the game, looking at the level design made me sort of appreciate game design so much more, because that game is put together fantastically. The light design is fantastic. The general levels is beautiful. And yeah, as I say, by the end of it, I really, really enjoyed it, and I would recommend playing it if you can. And it's not a particularly long game, but yeah, no, it's a really good, solid 7 out of 10 with flaws. But
No,
yeah,
that
recommend it.
sounds good. I'm sure you talked about this game before. That's why I was getting rid of Deja Vu there. But
Yeah, but I had only played it for a few hours, and it was quite slow, and I was just like, well, what's going on with this? I can only throw a rock. But once I, as I say, took back a step and said, oh, this isn't an action game. This isn't like running around collecting loot. This is a story, and it's an interactive story, I suppose. And it makes you make some really dark decisions. For example, like walking down a dark corridor with a torch, and as you're moving forward, the rats are moving forward, and there's a guy at the end of the corridor, and you kind of have to move the rats into him, and the rats eat him just so you can survive. Meanwhile, the music is building up to this really scary tension. It's really good. I really, really enjoyed it.
oh, that sounds pretty cool. Actually, sounds pretty cool.
Rats
Right.
for my own survival, without a doubt.
What did you say? Sorry.
I say I'd feed a man to the rats for my own survival, without question. I
did.
I wouldn't even pause.
When people talk about like having hard decisions in a game, I'm usually like, it's just a game. But this one was genuinely like, oh fuck, that's actually quite bad. And the sound of the rats and the way they jump over him and sort of tear his skin, and it's just a skeleton when they disappear. It's a really, really well put together
Yeah.
piece.
I'll be honest. On to Mario's comment there. I think I'll feed a man to rats at the moment just for a haircut.
Yeah, tell me about it, man.
I mean, look at this bar that's going, man. Jesus Christ, I look like fucking David Hasselhoff or something. Right. Okay. So,
Proper fucking haircut.
I mean, that's a proper haircut. That's not a haircut. That's a hair gone. That's
Properly, yeah.
yeah, completely
Get
gone.
it done.
I like it. All right. From Plague Tale: Innocence to Shadow of the Colossus. Is this like your 4th, 5th playthrough, Marius? What's happening here?
It's my third playthrough of Shadow of Colossus. Um, I've found myself in one of those video game lulls where I haven't really been sure what to play. Nothing. I'm sort of waiting for Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima. The two games I'm sort of looking forward to. So I wanted to hold off on other things. I've played a few bits and pieces of various other games, but nothing's really got me. So I was looking through my library. I wanted something on the PlayStation to play. And I saw this again. I think it was on PS Plus not so long ago. The remake of Shadow of Colossus, which I'd never played the remake. I've played obviously the original and then the HD remaster that they did. This is a beautiful game. This looks absolutely amazing. Like particular bits like in your you're going through some woods and like there's the light shining through the trees and it just looks amazing. The sound as well sort of highlights that as well when you're just riding around on the horse and the wind sort of the sound of the wind as you're rushing through the desert or whatever was brilliant. I mean, for those obviously some people listening may not know what this is. So, like, Shadow of Colossus is the sort of key hook of the gameplay is you're this boy. You're trying to it starts with you bringing the body of this girl into this temple, and you've heard that this sort of spirit in this temple can bring back the dead sort of thing. So you're trying to do that, and he tells you to do this. You have to kill these 16 Colossus, who are these massive beings throughout the land. So there's two stages to each sort of level, if you like. First one is going and finding where these creatures live, and the second one is finding out how to destroy them, which generally means finding out a way to get onto them. So there's a climbing mechanic, so you have a stamina bar to climb up these. Excuse me. So that they generally have a bit of fur or something on them, so you have to find out how to get on and climb up. So it's a bit like there's the first sort of puzzle part of it. To work out how to get on them, and then there's the sort of platforming almost bit of how to actually execute that, and that whole gameplay loop I think is brilliant. It works really well. I mean, like you say, this is my third playthrough of it, so I mean I think I did it in about 4.5 hours through the whole game, something like that, because I obviously knew how to do it all. But it's still brilliant. I love it. There's sometimes some things are a little bit annoying. The control of the horse is still a little bit annoying, but the animation of the horse is amazing. It looks really good, and I've realised it didn't occur to me when I played Death Stranding, but I've realised that the similarity between those two games, that the difference being that this is actually a game and Death Stranding is not. There is actually gameplay attached to it, but I got some of that same feel of when you're just riding on the horse to your destination through this beautiful world. It was great. I mean, this game has always been an absolute masterpiece. This is without a doubt the best version of this game. And whilst the mechanics haven't really changed, I think it's well worth seeking out and playing this version of it. I think this is one of the few times I would say that just the visuals and how much better it looks makes a huge difference to the game. The whole feel of it, it's absolutely phenomenal. This is fantastic. Love it.
So yeah, I do have it, and I do want to play it, especially now that I have an HDR TV and it does have HDR, so support the game. But my biggest decision is gonna have to be: do I want to go with a 4K 30? And the answer is no. Or do I want to go with 60 1080? And I think I'm gonna have to go with that, because when I did try it, it felt like I was watching a slideshow. That was my only concern. And I believe the version you played, Marius, is just a 60 version 1080. So that's but it looked great. But the 30 frames per second version just not great. I think I've asked you this before, Marius, but sorry, leave my mouse alone. I asked you before, but do you prefer this or Eco? From or Last Guardian. I'll throw that one in there as well.
Well, it's not The Last Guardian. That's definitely the weakest of the three. I still enjoyed that. There's a lot to be annoyed by in it, but overall, I did still enjoy that. I think Eco is probably better. I'd need to play that again.
Yeah.
To remind myself, and I would very much like to see a full remaster of Eco. That would be amazing. I would love to play that. But
they've got to be talking about that, haven't they? Surely.
Yeah, you would think.
It's so beloved.
Yeah, I also wonder whether it's too late.
Wasn't Eco sort of towards the end of the PS2? So it would possibly tie up. Was it PS?
No, Shadow of the Colossus was towards the end. Eco was before that.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I thought it was the other way around. Okay,
no, Shadow of the Colossus was right at the end.
Eco was the first game by that developer on the PlayStation 2, and then that one was towards the end of the PlayStation.
Right.
3. Okay. Yeah. And then obviously PlayStation 3 was supposed to have the Last Guardian, but that never came out, and it eventually came out on the PS4. I wasn't gonna talk about it, but I have sunk like well over 20 hours. I've been streaming the game. I've been playing Dark Souls Remastered. I bought the remastered version, and I've been streaming that, and I'm falling in love with that game again, Dark Souls. I've talked about Dark Souls many times. So I just want to talk about the DLC part, which I'd never played originally. So I was playing today, and this morning actually, as it happens, and one of the viewers came in and just we lost Ben. Hopefully he'll be able to join again. And one of the here he comes. One of the viewers was telling me, you're going to the DLC bosses, and he was telling me how to get there. And I came up with some really good swear words, which this morning, I think my favorite one was I borrowed from World's End. I actually at one point called the boss, go back to Legoland, you fucking cunt. That's how much he was pissing me off. I must have like 10 times on that boss. But speaking of remasters, this is a remaster in the sense of they fixed issues they had with Dark Souls originally. So frame rate issues and bloom issues and like some anti-aliasing issues. Like they fixed some things and they upped some resolutions, but all the rest was still like the old. So the background still looks like it was painted by a primary school kid, like all the background drops. So I would love to see a remaster of that same style like they did with the Shadow of the Colossus. But the game itself, it's still absolutely brilliant, and I like. It's a 10-year-old game, or not the remaster. The remaster came out a couple years ago. But the amount of people that just jump in and go like, "Oh, fucking Dark Souls," like they just stay in and just for the nostalgia. Everyone loves that game, and I do too. And I've just been enjoying it, and I guess it's a bit early for the why don't you? So, but I'll do it now anyway. Go back to, especially now on these times where we're in lockdown, just go back to a game you used to love and just play it again. And if you can, play the best version of it like Marius did with Shadow of the Colossus, do that, because it's just great to go back down that nostalgia road and play the game that you loved, a few years ago, and then you're playing it again. I'm just enjoying it tremendously, the Dark Souls remaster. So much so that I'm feeling like I'm gonna go Dark Souls 2 and 3 now. I'm gonna just keep going. But yeah, I'm just loving it. Right, moving on to you now, Ben, again with the Concrete Genie.
Yeah, can you hear me still?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, no, I had a technical issue. Concrete Genie. Yeah, it's been really fun. So Concrete Genie is made by Pixel Opus, who I think are a European studio. I'm not entirely sure where. But it's basically it's a third-person sort of platformer, I suppose. Well, no, it's not even a platform. It's sort of an adventure game. But you take control of this kid who is getting picked on by some bullies, and through some turn of events, you get sort of transported to a parallel universe sort of thing, where the village that you're growing up in has been covered by this darkness. And the idea of the game is to run away from the bullies, collect pieces from your scrapbook, which has got drawings of genies, And basically, yeah, you've got to use these pages of your scrapbook to draw some genies on the wall using the motion controls of the PS4 controller.
I'm out.
Which isn't actually too bad at all. It takes a little bit getting used to, but yeah, basically you draw these beautifully depicted, colourful images on the side of the wall, and the genies bring them to life. So it becomes this very dark, drab environment brought to life by lots of particle effects and pretty neon colours. And basically, yeah, you've got to try and get through the level with the help of the genies. But they can only move on a 2D plane on any walls that are connected. So, for example, you might need to go and open a gate, but they can't actually get there until you've done something else. And each genie has a power of some sort. So they'll move around the walls to, say, an electricity box, and there'll be an electric genie that will give power to the electricity box, which will open the gate, which will allow you through to then obviously go and find some more things to paint to try and get rid of this darkness. So I'm a couple of hours in so far, and it's a really charming little game. It looks really, really nice. As I say, the colours, it's very, very vibrantly popping. And the level design is really clever, how obviously because the genies can only get around on a 2D plane, the way that the world is interconnected, you don't sort of realize until you get a bit further through. You can climb up on top of the roofs, as I say, to try and avoid the bullies, who are used more as a mechanic to sort of restrict your access to a certain area unless you distract them away. So they come off and find you. You can then do what you need to do before they come back, which opens up a new area. And yeah, so far it's a real pleasant little game, and I am enjoying playing it. And the way that the motion controls work, all it is you're essentially using your light bar to paint where you want to go. You hold R2 to paint from a stencil that you're collecting, essentially. And the way that the genies are animated, you'll draw like the head and the body, and if you draw it elongated and give it some little legs, the way that it comes to life and sort of it becomes sort of pin the tail on the donkey style limbs, but they become part of this colourful blob. So you've got these different genies running around, and they're all doing their own little thing, and you've got to collect various bits and pieces to make them happy. You've got to do some graffiti on the walls, and once they're happy, they can give you magic paint to be able to get through the tougher darkness stains on the walls. So yeah, that's the sort of synopsis in a nutshell. It's really good. I really, really enjoy playing it.
I mean, it doesn't sound like my kind of thing. Maybe more like Marius kind of cup of tea, maybe potentially.
No, I think Marius might enjoy it for a little bit from the sort of what it is as a game perspective, but it is a bit sort of arty-farty. It's definitely more a me game. But it's a nice little story, and yeah, no, you might want to check it out. If it's definitely a sort of if it comes on PlayStation Plus, I can see Marius playing it and enjoying it, but not going out of your way.
At the time when it was released, but having heard a bit about it, yeah, you're absolutely right, Ben. Spot on. If it turns up on PS Plus, I'll give it a go, but I'm not.
You're not going to bust a gut.
No.
Yeah, I think I only picked it up for about 15 quid on Amazon, so I thought I'd give it a go. And there is a VR mode as well, which I'd like to give a go, but I've not managed to pull the wires of the VR out yet. I've been looking at it for a little while, but sod that. But I will give it a go and hopefully update you on that next time.
No, that sounds not good, but good at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah. Not good for me. Sparkles 2.
This sounds terrible. I don't know what it is,
I mean,
but it sounds awful.
There's almost nothing you can say that's gonna make me want to play this game.
No,
go on.
Zuma, the puzzle game where the balls go round and you got to shoot the colours.
So the next one we have is
Yeah,
Go on.
but interest. No, so I was going through my because I played Abzu again, and I got 100% of the trophies, and I thought,
My understanding is Abzu is dog shit according to Marius.
yeah, which is why I didn't even put it on the list. But anyway, I played through that again, which was lovely, and I was going through
Oh,
my
I'm gonna second.
my list of games that I've played.
I'm gonna second. Marius said to me, and I think he said on the podcast that Abzu is one of the worst video games he's ever played in his life. That was his words, not mine.
That's fine.
So is that
This
true,
is why I
Marius?
didn't even put it on the list. Anyway,
Do you still agree with that?
Remember if I said those very words, but I thought it was terrible. I just did not like 1 second of that game. It was awful. I mean, it looks pretty, and I like the fish. I'll give it that. But
that's all it is.
Didn't you
Really.
say your cat liked the fish or something?
yeah, the cat did like the fish, so yeah, good game for cats. Not a good
Nice.
game for human beings.
Good game. That's the title. That's the podcast title. Good game for cats, not a good game for human beings. I might write that down. Somebody write that down. Minute 50. I'll make a mark. I'll put a marker down. There we go.
Anyway, yeah, I went through my games list and I was like, I don't want to start anything new. What do I want to go back through and finish? And I saw Sparkle 2 and I'm like, I don't even know this game. I don't recall purchasing. So it must have been a PlayStation Plus thing. But yeah, it's just Zuma Match 3. But you know, when you get into a zone of playing small repetitive puzzle games and you find some time has passed, I've very much got into that with this. So
Okay, that
there we go.
sounds good. That sounds not good actually, but fair enough. Let's move on to Dreams. You've been playing Dreams? Have you? You got any?
Yeah, I played the demo of, and the reason that I've put Spark 2 and
Adam.
Dreams on, no, so obviously looking at Unreal now, I'm looking at games differently because I'm looking at how the assets are sort of linked together. So to watch and play some of the games in Dreams is amazing. You guys, Marius, you played Dreams for a bit, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's still on and off, hopping in there.
And I think it's going to be something that I will pick up, and especially from the game making perspective now. It's interesting to see how they've put the sort of the more high end, well, not high end, but technical programming side of things into very usable mechanics to create games.
I'm gonna say. So normally he's always the artsy fartsy. He likes fucking Journey and Flower and all of that that mambo jumbo. Now he's designed like a bit of a level. He's talking like he's been a game designer for many years. Oh
no,
looking at it from with my the camera lens of a game designer. I really like how they hidden all the mechanics for the.
Yeah, but it's no. I honestly, it's you're taking the piss, but to now realize
you're taking the piss. I'm sorry, it's the other way around.
What goes in. But even at a very basic understanding, that's what's given me this whole kind of, even a shit game like Sparkle 2, the way that someone's actually sat there and tied these things together, made the assets, it's just given me an appreciation for video games in a much broader scale than, I already knew game development was hard, but now I know why it's hard at a very, very basic level.
I guess
so
I was gonna say,
to see some of these games in Dreams that people have put together in a relatively short period of time is a testament to how good the development tools are in Dreams. And it also makes me, very excited for the future of what people can do with a year or 2 years of using Dreams at home.
Let's be clear as well. It's not the development tools; it's the game.
Yeah, the game. Yeah. So Ben, I want to ask you a question as a veteran games developer that you are.
At least I did more than a triangle and a ball.
Oh, why is he attacking Marius? Marius is not doing anything. Marius is quiet. I'm the one giving you shit, and you attacking Marius. What's this?
I know, but I just need to one up myself against one of you at least. So,
wow.
Go on, carry on. What were you going to ask?
I was gonna say no. I joke and I am taking the piss, but you do when you start doing things that you think they're easy sometimes, or you don't think they're easy, but you don't realize how much effort goes into it. For instance, even like with live streaming, I've only been live streaming for a month now, but what I thought the work that I thought was involved in live streaming to what I know now is like, oh my god, it's so much more. No wonder people live stream for like
You're not just switching the camera on.
yeah.
And
People normally do it for like a couple times and they go like, oh, I'm never doing it again. There is a lot more, and then you're always learning as well. So I completely see where you're coming from on that. I was taking the piss, but
I know.
I do understand your point, and Dreams, like very much like Little Big Planet, it's crazy just how well they made this game, and how you can make other games within that game is just fantastic. You know, we talked about with Little Big Planet when they did the calculator, which is just ridiculous. You know, things like that.
Yeah.
People are crazy. So you're right. In 2 years, I want to see what's in what somebody can do in this game. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Dreams is cool. Let's finish off with a bit of VR corner or VR. What do we call it? VR corner? I don't know if we do that. What do we call it?
Get face on.
Face on. Getting face on with
Face
VR.
on.
That's the one. That's the one. Getting face on with VR. And Marius has been getting face on with VR, trying to fill the Half-Life Alex void left in his life. I would imagine with the Kona VR. Is it Kona VR? Let's go with that one.
Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, so Half-Life Alex, the greatest game in VR that I've played, and I don't think there's anything else that can challenge it. Kona, one of the worst VR games I have ever played. I've gone two ends of the spectrum.
Wow, why is it so bad?
Just in many levels.
Which VR platform are you playing this on?
It's on PSVR.
Right.
So again, like I said earlier, I was in a bit of a lull. I wanted to try and find something different to play. I was trying to avoid playing games that I'd played before, but after this debacle, I decided no, let's stick to what I know, and hence Shadow of Colossus. So it's like you play a detective. I think it's sort of set 40s, 50s, maybe something like that, in Canada. And you sort of arrive in the town. There's nobody in the town. There's lots of snow, so it has like a sort of a bit of a very light survival mechanic where you have to keep warm, so you have to go and start a fire in each place where you get to, otherwise you start spazzing out a little bit. It just, I got angry at the options menu. That's how good this game is.
Wow.
Because I couldn't select the options properly. It was annoying. The interface was bad. This game clearly wasn't designed for VR. I think the VR was an add-on, and you can tell it doesn't feel very VR-y at all. There's a sort of there's a narrator throughout. I don't know what they were going for, whether they were trying to do something Bastion-like, but none of it's funny. Very little of it is interesting. Not much of it is useful, and he won't shut the hell up. It's like constant voice in your ear, and it is just finding objects basically. There's not much to it. So yeah, a bit of a disappointment. Having said that, I paid £3.30 for this experience, so you can't really grumble at that. It was on sale. I put an hour or so into it, but yeah, I think finding a replacement for Half-Life Alex is going to be somewhat difficult.
Oh well, yes. I now want to try at the moment because
No, I'm seriously considering giving Alex another playthrough already.
already. Yeah, but what a game! I mean, we done obviously a spoiler cast with the friend of the show, Dennis. He joined us for that at WC Pod, and we all were giving it a lot of praise, weren't we? I think that game is gonna be well. I think it's the game of the year, isn't it? It depends what happens. I mean, Last of Us is coming out, I guess, and there's a few other things, Cyberpunk, but I cannot see that being trumped But I'll give that a miss then, for sure. This Kona VR, because it sounds terrible, and I don't have a PSP VR anyway. Right. So that let's move on from the playlist to the why don't you part of the show where we give you a suggestion of something to do, experience, watch, whatever, over the next couple of weeks. And I'll probably start with mine by saying, if you can, if the go and play a game that's either has been remastered or play a game that you liked back in the day, because I think it's a great time to do that. I've certainly done that with Dark Souls, and don't be surprised if I'll be streaming Enslaved very soon again. and
A great 7 out of 10.
And the more I think about the 7 out of 10 thing, I think that I know we say that that Enslaved is the best 7 out of 10 game, but the reason it is the best 7 out of 10 game is because it isn't the 7 out of 10 at all. That's why. Yes, Marius.
Having said that, I didn't mention it on the podcast actually, but I think Yakuza is actually now the best 7 out of 10 game.
Oh wow!
I'm
Okay.
gonna have to pick up Yakuza to challenge that. But yeah,
I need
it
to.
sounds like it could be.
But you see where I'm coming from on the Enslaved. It's not a 7 out of 10 game because
No, it's not. It's better than that.
It's a lot better than that. So it's not like a game that is great but with a few flaws. Yes, there's a couple of flaws.
Got a lot of 7 scores.
Yeah, it got a lot, but that was wrong. So I'm saying it didn't deserve any of that. So that's Enslaved is a classic 9. That's what it is. It's nothing else. But anyway, whatever. It's a great game, and don't be surprised if I play it again. But yes, go back to a game you liked. Get a Bulletstorm or something like that, or Shadow of the Colossus. That's my my why don't you just go and play something you haven't played in a long time and experience it again. Ben, what's yours?
It's pretty much the same. I picked up a basketball yesterday, and I was shooting hoops, and
Right.
I forgot that I was actually quite good at basketball years and years ago.
There you
And
go.
I
I'm a
played
game developer now. I'm
No, 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 no.
Guy, I'm best at Tony Hawks. I'm better than Jordan at basketball.
Back in the day, back in my game development and b-ball days, y'all.
If I didn't stop growing, I could have been a basketball player.
Yeah. But no, I forgot that I like basketball. So it's sort of a follow on from what you've been saying.
Sorry, quick question sorry to interrupt you before you carry on there, because you were obviously so good at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Remind us again who won NBA Jam, because that wasn't you for sure. Okay, just.
Oh no, I'm shit at NBA
okay,
Jam.
yeah,
I enjoy playing it.
I'm just saying if we bring him back past tournament games, I want to talk about NBA Jam for a bit as well.
Yeah, no, that's cool. When they do a remaster, which I'm sure we'd be well up for playing.
That's never gonna happen, but I'll take a remaster of NBA Jam for sure. Never ever gonna happen, but I'll take a remaster of that. Actually, I won't. You cannot remaster that game.
Doesn't need it.
It doesn't need it. It's perfect still. Anyway, sorry. Apologies. Carry on.
No, that's cool. But yeah, the my way don't you is do something that you've not done for a long time. You may have not enjoyed it, or you may have been really good at something when you were younger, or when you were doing a different job, whatever it is. Do something that you've not done for a while, because it might re-spark some creativity. It might reaffirm that you really don't like something. I don't know, but yeah, sort of 15 years on, I'm running around the garden, I'm like, shit, I was a lot healthier 15 years ago, and a lot fitter. But yeah, do something you haven't done for a while, play a game you haven't played for a while. That's my word, don't you? Right. And learn game development and become an NBA star in 6 months by watching YouTube videos. That's basically how I did it. So there we go.
Right. Hang on a second. I need to readjust the camera because I cannot see Ben's head anymore on the screen.
It's been my head going.
There we go. Let me just. Oh my god! There we go. Wow, that's some scary stuff there. Did I put 18 or teen rating? No. Okay, it's fine. I don't remember what age rating I put on for this one. Actually, that's a good point. We haven't said anything too bad. Apart from go back to Legoland, you fucking can't.
Yeah, I was going to say you dropped the C bombs.
Other than that, we've been quite good. Right, Marius, you want to talk about cocaine?
In a roundabout way, yes.
White lines.
I'm not condoning cocaine, but no, yeah, a Netflix series called White Lines. Now, look, this is not going to challenge Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. Let's get that out there straight off. But it's one of those. It's just dead easy to watch. It's this story about this woman who, when she was 15 in Manchester in the sort of the mid 90s, her brother left with his friends to go to Ibiza, become a DJ and whatnot, and then he sort of disappears. And this is she was told that he traveled over to India, but then years later his body is then found in Ibiza, and so she goes over to try and find out what happened to him. And yeah, it's just like I say, it's nothing too deep in there, although it does, like, she had some issues dealing with her brother's disappearance, so it deals with some of the sort of mental health side of things and how she sort of copes with that, which is quite interesting. Other than that, it's just some sort of good music, some silly violence, some bits are quite amusing in there. There's quite an amusing bit in the first the first one involving a banana boat, some cocaine, and some dogs, which is quite funny. And there's boobs everywhere for the people interested in that sort of thing, although they might have used most of their boob budget in episode 1 to try and draw people in, because the boob ratio has definitely gone down. I think that was a carefully planned tactic. So yeah, but it's one of those things, like, you don't need to think about it, you can just watch it. You can, and there's some funny lines. Particular character, like there's a boxer, he's like a sort of bodyguard for one of these people. He's quite funny and turns out pretty violent. So yeah, give it a shot. There's nothing to lose. It's on Netflix, which basically everybody has. So have a go.
When you said the move ratio there, which first of all, that's a funny comment. It just reminded me of the movie Role Models. I don't know if you've seen that movie, guys. It's very funny. But there's a part on the movie. I've seen that movie far too many times. Anyway, there's a part in the movie where they're in the camping in the woods.
Like Vince Vaughn or something.
Sorry?
That sounds like, is that Vince Vaughn?
No. It's Role Models is with names. The guy that plays Ant-Man, the main actor from that.
Yeah.
And one of the guys from American Pie. So the one that anyway, but there's a part where he's trying to give a life lesson to this kid about boobs, and he goes like, there's about, each woman has 2 boobs for the most part, and there's, same amount of men and women in the world. So for the most part, it's 2-to-1 boob ratio. So we're outnumbered. That's so he was starting to explain why we're why it's so bad. So anyway, when he said the boob ratio, it just reminded me of that for some reason, and it's just funny. Watch Role Models. That's my other. Why don't you? It's a good movie, actually. Right, so that's good. That's some good why don't you there, I think. So let's move on to the
end.
To the end.
End of the show.
Just to say bye. I was gonna say
to the end.
Let's segue to the end. I was gonna say let's move on to where you can find us, but by the time you listen to this podcast, if you listen to the podcast version, it will be too late already. But I'm doing a 19-hour stream tomorrow in aid of COVID-19 efforts, and it's for the British Heart. Nope, that's the wrong one. It's for the to get it right tomorrow. Red Heart. Nope, Red Cross. That's the one. Red Cross. That's the one. Got that in the end.
Professional as ever, Bruno.
Sorry?
I said professional as ever. Don't know who you're doing it for.
Oh no, I do know what I'm doing it for. It's for the Red Cross Foundation. It's in aid of COVID-19 support for the NHS and also for people affected by it. So I'm doing it tomorrow, 19 hours. I'm starting at 6 a.m. That's GMT, and I'm finishing at 1 a.m. following day. So if you do have a chance, I just posted the link there on chat. If you do have a chance to pop in, do so, and if you can donate, that'll be, please do so. I think by the time you listen to this, I don't know if my donation page is still gonna be up or not. Go and have a look. But if it's not, just donate anyway, because I know it's a difficult time to ask, because a lot of people are furloughed and it's difficult times, but it's also difficult times for those that don't have anything. So those, so it's also a great time for trying to be, generous and a generally good human being, which is what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm doing this stream. And normally when I do,
Too late for you to be a good human being, Bruno. The damage has already been done, mate. There's nothing you can do to turn that clock back.
Thanks, Ben. Ben is saying that he'll definitely be on. That's fantastic, Ben. Normally when it comes to these things, I feel like I'm doing the challenge, so I want people to donate. I'm actually gonna donate myself on this one because like I said, it's the best time to do this. It's definitely very important. So I'm doing that tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. But we're still doing the 24-hour marathon. Is that happening in August, Maris?
August is still the plan, but let's see what happens. I think.
So that's still going ahead. So don't worry. That's we haven't. This is not a Monkey Tail thing. Even though Maris is gonna join me for a bit to play some Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage time, yeah.
So he's joining me at 11 to play some Streets of Rage. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And you can find me most days on streaming as well at the moment, which is great. What about yourself? Where can we find you, Ben? Anywhere?
Oh, in the van.
In the van?
If you've got my number, then you can call me. If you haven't, you can't find me.
Whereabouts in the world are you? Because I know you're inside the van, but you could be anywhere. Literally, you could be anywhere. I mean,
I'm in the south of England at the minute. I'm actually back in Southampton today.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where I am now. But who knows next week? But yeah, you can't find me anywhere on the internet. If you can, then please tell me what you can find, because I'd like to think that you can't find anything. But
where can we find your next game? Maybe when are you publishing it?
Well, it's quite a obviously tough times at the minute, so we're keeping our schedule close to our chest. So
right. Yeah.
Once this all blows over, we'll have a bit more information to give, and we'll give you a firm outline of DLC and
DLC.
bonus
Oh
content.
wow. Okay. As a massive fan of Monkey Tail, like all of you must be. I can I have a bundle of Triangle Ball and your game put together? Is that a thing? Like like
I will have to talk
Mega
to
Drive Mega Drive cartridges which come with the 3 games. Can I have something like that? Is that a thing?
I'll have to talk to the publishing partners, but my part will be ready. I don't know if Marius will be able to finish Triangle Ball in time though. So, but
fair,
I'll let him answer that.
I think there was some games on the Mega Drive where you put the cartridge and there was like one and two good games, and the last one was Triangle Ball. It was like something you were like, oh, I'm not playing that shit. I'm not playing that shit. Even though there were some good ones as well. I think my favorite one, obviously everyone's favorite one, was the one with Streets of Rage and Shinobi. That was and Golden Axe was the weak link on that one.
Oh yeah.
But there was one which had Super Angon, Columns, which was fucking great, Columns. And what was the other one? Go on, quiz question for Marius.
Oh, I can't remember. I had it as well.
Did you have that one?
No idea.
It was Super Angon and Columns for sure, and then one more, wasn't it? Cat? No? Anyone? Oh,
no idea.
I think he's googling it.
I'm googling it. Yeah.
Well, we'll let Marius do a Google quickly while he does that, and in terms of the video quality here, Ben, you're on 4G, so I'm gonna give you a pass. But what's happening with you, Marius? Are you downloading something in the background, or is everyone watching Murder She Wrote or something? The moment.
Oh my god, yeah, I can see the. It was a football game World
Oh.
Cup Italia '98.
That's it. That was good as
I
well.
remember that.
That was good as well.
I was like
yes.
top down, wasn't
From the
it?
top. Yeah, you see from the top only. Like,
And it's
yeah.
just heads and shoulders.
Yeah, you see the shoulders moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah, I remember now. Yes, I had that one, and obviously the Shinobi one was the best one. The one with Shinobi and Streets of Rage. And I'm gonna say this, and Marius is gonna say I'm wrong, but the best game in that cartridge was Shinobi. Actually, I know he's gonna say, I think you find it on Streets of
yeah.
Rage,
Absolutely. Because
but Shinobi was I really liked it. Okay, right. Let's leave it at that then. We'll be back again in a couple weeks. Thanks, Ben, for watching it. We had two viewers. Don't know who the other viewer is. They didn't
I
announce
think
themselves.
it's me or
Is it you?
Marius. I
Uh,
don't know.
if you guys watching on restream, it shouldn't count as a viewer, but well, it doesn't matter if it is, guys. But yes, if you haven't done so already, follow us on your platform of choice. We're on Twitch, the Mixer, YouTube, and on D Live. So whichever one you use, give us a follow on that, and we'll be back again here in 2 weeks doing this again. I think hopefully with Adam. Oh, thanks, Ben. Yeah, hopefully with Adam, if he gets his thing sorted. All right, so that's a goodbye from me, Bruno Pinto.
goodbye, people.
Goodbye, everybody. Bye.
Bye bye.